This is Danielle for Paper Issues, and I'm back with another episode of Mixed Media Monday. And this week we're going to talk about watercoloring. And let me start with I'm no artist by any means, but I really like the feel it can give you to be an artist, because you cannot really go wrong with watercoloring. It's just that you kind of need the courage and some little basic techniques to make it work. But you can't really go wrong, and I just want to show you in this episode of Mixed Media Monday. Right here I have a watercoloring set of I think it's called Cure Take or Cure Take, I think. It's an Asian brand. This is a bigger set that I have. We have a smaller set in the Paper Issues store at paperissues.com, and that set has 12 colors, which is a great start when you're new to watercoloring. Now, in the lid of the box, there's a chart. It comes all blank. You will have to do the colors yourself, but I really like to have this on hand to see what the colors really look like on paper. So I'll put this here to the side so I can see what I'm doing. And here I have two images. Both are from the Pink Fresh Studio Butterfly stamp set. The first bigger one I stamped and heat embossed with clear embossing powder. This one is going to be a no line coloring. So once the color is in, you will not really see those lines anymore. And the smaller butterfly I heat embossed with gold embossing powder, and you will obviously still see that in the end result. It has a beautiful gold outlining. So let's get started with the no line coloring. Just make sure you have a cup of water right next to you. And this image is great because it has all these little pieces, little details in the butterfly. So it's a great one to watercolor. Now what you do first is you start wetting I stamped it on watercolor paper, by the way, and I find it very helpful to wet the paper before I even start. You don't have to be precise with this. And the reason I heat embossed the images is so that your watercolor is not going to run all over the place. So especially if you need to practice with watercoloring, this is a great way to do it because you can control the colors a little bit more. Okay, now I have this part all wet. Now we're going to go in with the first color. And I'm going to go with some darker red. Now make sure that your watercolor pen is nicely wet too. And I'm just going to dip it in here. And because the paper is wet already, you can start seeing it run. Now I'm just gonna wet my brush again, and just by adding more water, not too much, you can make the color run. And I just applied it here at the beginning of this piece, so that is where the most pigment is, and then you can make it run to the end and it will become a light pink. I'm not gonna think too much about what colors I'm gonna use. It's gonna be just a mix of a lot of things. And this is all more so about showing you what watercolors do. Now, you have your embossing lines in between to protect all the colors from running. But I recommend that you don't go straight to the next area. You just leave some space in between so this first one can dry a little bit. I'm just adding more water here again. And you just make that mint color go over the whole area. And then if you feel like the color went way too far to the other direction, you can kind of push it back. It's the same how I feel about this pink one. I'm just gonna take some, I really have my brush dry, so I'm gonna take some of that pigment away. Now I have it more again the way I wanted it. Now we're going to some yellow. Just adding some pigment. And then spread the color with water. So this is a really rich color. I'm gonna have to take some more pigment away. And watercoloring is just nothing more than playing with the pigment and the water you're adding. Okay, I'm going back to the green one. And then when your brush is wet, you take a little bit of that pigment away again. And the fun part is you can keep playing with this. So the pink part is mainly dry now. I can just go in with a wet brush, wet that area again. Add a little pigment in again, and you can see that running again. So if it's dry and you're not happy with the way it turned out, just wet the paper again and you can go back in. So it's very forgiving. Okay, so this is what the no line coloring looks like. I just want to show you what it looks like with the golden outline. And I'm going here with the body of the butterfly first. I'm going to wet the paper. And I'm going to go with a violet color. So this is one of the reasons you really need that chart. If you look at this pen, it almost looks like a dark brown or black. And then in your chart, you see the real color. So it's really handy to have that on hand. So I'm gonna add the pigment, make the water do its work. Now we go on to this bigger piece on the side. Gonna wet the paper. Whoops. And I'm going with a light blue. And again, it's just playing around with the pigment and water. And it really helps if you do this on watercolor paper. It really makes a difference. And especially when you're practicing, because you're gonna keep going in, making your paper wet and making little corrections. And that is gonna be really hard when you do that on normal cardstock. Isn't that gorgeous with that golden outline? As you can see, the embossed outline is not entirely preventing from going outside the lines. It did happen here a little bit and on this end too. But it's okay, especially on the inside. You can add water there again and it takes most of the pigment away again. Now you can blow dry this with your heat gun in between. Mostly it dries pretty quickly anyway, but if you're impatient, you can dry it and then go in with water again to make your corrections. So I'm gonna finish this one off camera too, because it's gonna take too long. But again, at the end of the video, you're gonna see the final images. If you also have the die cut of the stamped images, you can easily just die cut them, add them to your layouts, your cards, and you will have some great end results, I believe. So we cannot wait to see what you guys will do for this week's Mixed Media Monday. Have some fun with watercoloring and keep practicing. That's the only thing I can say. Just keep doing it and you will learn and feel what watercolor does, what the pigment does, and what the water does. And you will easily get the feel of it, of how it works. So we're back next week with another episode of Mixed Media Monday. We hope to see you then again, and make sure you like and comment on this video. Follow Paper Issues on YouTube. If you follow us and subscribe, you get a notification every time we have a new video up. So thank you guys for watching, and we guys see you next week. Bye bye.